So good evening, everyone. Welcome to our evening session. Also for those that are connecting online, wherever they might be, wherever you might be. So let's settle in for our evening meditation, followed by some reflections and discussion. Taking this time to allow ourselves to settle, settling physically, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. Settling down. Established a comfortable sitting position for the body helping the mind to align with balance, poise, and mental presence. Body becoming still and quiet, silent, which also helps the mind to become still, silent, and also inwardly spacious, allowing the content of the mind, the happenings, the comings, goings, doings of the day, concerns of the world to dissipate, dissolve, disappear, creating that inner space. Some mind space to be within, abide within, some space to enable that calm, clarity, peace, and presence of the mind to become manifest, experienced as peace. So with our eyes gently closed, bringing awareness within, having our initial relaxing, letting go breath, breathing out any stress, tension from the body, letting go of issues, concerns. As we feel into the present moment through body and breath. Before bringing attention to our naturally occurring breath, just feeling the body sitting, body being a foundation for mindfulness, particularly through sensation, contact sensation, feeling the feet connecting with the floor, feeling the body connecting with the chair, cushion, or meditation stool. Sensing and feeling the position of our hands and fingers resting in our lap. Maybe even feeling the air connecting with our face. And noticing some degree of light coming in through the closed eyelids. Creating a sense of lightness, brightness, maybe a color, patterning, or just a blankness. Even a luminosity. And even looking into that lightness, brightness, blankness. Forward focused gaze into the space in front through the closed eyelids. Not being distracted by any background sounds that might occur. Particularly not being distracted into the internal sounds or sights of thoughts. Rather consciously on purpose, focusing attention in the present by noticing each breath, each soothing, therapeutic, life-giving breath, each breath giving life to the body and aliveness and alertness to the mind, each enlivening breath. Feeling each breath whilst also looking into that lightness, brightness through the closed eyelids, using one or two mental meditative words in the mind together with each breath, if that's helpful. Main thing is noticing and attending to each individual breath. Allowing the mind to settle, become stabilized, firm in the present moment, and at the same time focused, collected, composed, concentrated, manifesting as inner calm ease. So this evening, as we're a smaller group, I might go through and say people's names so you can get to know who's here, who comes. So we have Clint tonight, not Meg.
No, Meg.
In Sydney.
Melbourne now.
Melbourne, okay. So Clint, Susanna, and Peter, and Rihanna. And then behind is Christy, and Scott, and Maria, and Brendan. So Christy's the admin person for Well Awareness, sends out the emails and newsletter and makes up the flyers. Maria was the admin person at Well Awareness for a few years. So there's a nice flyer up on the wall back there on the side for Ajahn Tiradamo's visit in March. So we'll be here from the 5th until the 10th of March with a Sunday meditation day on the 9th of March. So he'll also give the Thursday evening session as well. Please help yourself to some tea, coffee, biscuits, and we can have some reflections and discussion.
So you send out the invitation for the 9th already, so can we register on Sunday? Do we have
Yes.
a list for that, or
Yes.
we do it online?
Either, but certainly on Sunday we'll have place where you can tick the box for coming on the 9th. Yes, so meditation day this Sunday. Hopefully it doesn't rain too much. So it's not raining now here, raining probably elsewhere, but it was raining here this morning, last night. So what does that mean? If it's raining, what does that mean? Could be a Zen koan question. It's raining, what does it mean? What is the sound of one hand clapping? Well, what it means is that it's raining, but it also could mean that it's around the time of the full moon. Doesn't need to be the full moon for us to have rain, but it often does rain around the time of the full moon, just before, during the full moon, a bit afterwards. So this evening is the full moon. And often when there's a full moon, it's significant in many ways, but certainly significant in the Buddhist calendar. The Buddhist calendar, certainly traditional Buddhism, early Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism, uses the lunar calendar. So the week is divided into four, well, the month is divided into four weeks that are according to the phases of the moon. So the full moon is like the, as in like moon month. So often our months don't quite align in terms of starting with a full moon or ending with a full moon. They do on the Buddhist calendar, and generally then special occasions, observance days, holy days are always on a full moon day. Which means it could be a special day today in the Buddhist calendar. Anyone know how many special holy days there are in Buddhism, particularly Theravada Buddhism, because the various schools of Buddhism do have sort of extra days or particular days that are emphasized, but Theravada Buddhism, traditional Buddhism, anyone know how many holy days there are? Well, again, Theravada Buddhism likes to keep things simple. There's four noble truths, four right efforts, four holy days. And these 4 days are the first one, which is happening today, which is called Magha Puja. I'll talk a bit about Magha Puja shortly. So Magha Puja, full moon in either February or slightly into March, whenever the full moon is occurring. Then there is Visakha Puja. Visakha, the month of May, the month of Visakha, but it's in May, and generally sort of mid to late May usually, and that celebrates the birth, enlightenment, and passing, parinibbana, the ending of the Buddha. So birth, enlightenment, and ending that occurred on the full moon in May. And then we have Asalaha Puja, which generally occurs around it's the 8th month, so it's July, usually, sometimes maybe early August, again depending upon when the full moon is. And Asala Puja is the occasion that the Buddha gave the first sermon, the first discourse, beginning the dispensation of Buddha, which he gave to five disciples, 5 friends that were practicing with him. That he came back to after his full enlightenment and then taught. And so it began the beginnings of a community, the Buddhist Sangha. And on that occasion, he gave the teaching, the sermon, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, turning of the wheel of truth, wheel of Dharma. So a very, very significant discourse, sermon teaching, a foundation teaching in a way, that includes the Eightfold Path, 4 Noble Truths. If there's one discourse that's probably the most well-known and most sort of appreciated and practiced, it's the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, because it contains all the teachings, basically. 4 Noble Truths, and then the 4th truth is there is a way to the ending of stress and suffering, which is the Eightfold Path, the 8 active practice path. That was Magha Puja. And then the fourth of the 4 holy days is Pabarana. And that usually occurs around October, full moon in October, which is ending also the 3-month Vasa retreat period from Asalaha Puja to Pabarana Day. So 3 months, where the Buddha designated those 3 months as a time for monks, nuns, monastics to practice more strictly, observing certain disciplines and staying in one place, particularly because it was the rainy season, so not good to be out and about traveling around. And on the ending, on the Pavarana Day and the ending of the rain retreat, it's a great sort of celebration. And generally, sometime after that, within the next month, various monasteries will have what is called a Katina ceremony, where the lay people that are associated with that monastery or monk or monks will offer some robes or cloth that the monks then can use for making robes. So four special occasions to observe within the context of the Buddhist calendar. But today being Magha Puja, so Magha Puja is special because it's often called Sangha Day. Sangha, the Buddhist word for community, or another sort of colloquial word would be collective or congregation. So it's seen as like the establishment, the full sort of establishment of the Buddha's Sangha community congregation, particularly because on this full moon, 4 significant things happened. 4 significant things that happened were that it was a full moon. Secondly, that 1,250 students of the Buddha, monastics, spontaneously congregated together, came together to visit the Buddha, hear a teaching. So spontaneously, somehow decided, knew, let's go. So collecting together on this day. The third important feature is that they were all enlightened, fully enlightened. And the fourth being that they'd all come into the Sangha, the community congregation, through ordination or acceptance by the Buddha. So they were all directly accepted into the community by the Buddha himself. Later on, it became such that other senior monks would ordain people. But those 1,250 were all specifically brought into the Sangha. People that wanted to ordained through the Buddha. So very, very significant. And also what makes it significant was the Buddha's teaching to this group, 1,250 fully enlightened people, and a teaching which is called the Owada Patimokkha. And so it's a teaching about practice, observing practice and practicing well, which all of these fully enlightened monastics would have because they were fully enlightened, but at the same time being an example to others, to those that weren't enlightened. And the particular teaching that the Buddha gave is fairly long, but there's 4 lines in it that have become a summary of the Buddha's teachings that often people get to know, and as a bit of a, okay, what did the Buddha teach? Well, this is what he taught. And when I was a Buddhist monk, young Buddhist monk in Sydney, And my teacher, Prakanti Palo, he was English and was quite good with words. He reworded this, retranslated the Pali into like a verse that made it easy to remember. And not the easy way to remember. Translation is not doing anything evil or unwholesome, undertaking all that is wholesome, purifying one's mind. This is the teaching of the Buddhas. So not just Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, but previous Buddhas from thousands of years ago as well. But I find that that'd be difficult to memorize, but I can remember off by heart the one that I got told when I was 17, because it rhymes. It goes, every evil never doing, and in wholesomeness increasing, and one's heart well purifying. This is the Buddha's teaching. So every evil or everything unwholesome, never doing, and in wholesomeness increasing, and one's heart well purifying. This is the Buddha's teachings. In a way, it's a really good summary in terms of like, okay, so not doing anything which is unwholesome, refraining from unwholesomeness, doing that which is wholesome, purifying one's mind, obviously through meditation. This is the Buddha's teachings. Pretty simple. That's all you need to remember for enlightenment. Every evil never doing, and in wholesomeness increasing, and one's heart well purifying. This is the Buddha's teachings. So that is a motivation to align to, because often daily living, ordinary living, being in the world, engaging with the world, it's easy to get caught up in the opposite of that. Not that one's doing things that are really evil, but maybe just unskillful, unhelpful, unthoughtful, maybe more to do with self-desire and so forth. So then putting in the effort to do that which is wholesome and skillful and meaningful and worthwhile, which in itself is purifying the mind, but as well as that, the actual practice of purifying the mind, which is meditation. As we've been reflecting over the last couple of years, the main practice for purifying the mind is concentration practice, samadhi practice, because that to develop samadhi, the mind needs to be freed from the 5 hindrances. So developing that degree of concentration, the mind is free from thoughts of sense desire, so wanting, sense desire, thoughts of aversion, anger, mental distraction, agitation, mental dullness, and also skeptical doubt, confusion, delusion. So there's a purification, a purity of mind that develops through collecting, focusing, attending. The hindrances become less engaged, fall away, dissipate, dissolve, and what's left is the luminosity of mind, the purity of mind, the power of the mind that can then see things more accurately, clearly, that then flows into deep understanding, insight, vipassana, panya, wisdom. So a fundamental practice. And I think that one doesn't need to particularly be a Buddhist to see the worth of this in terms of these, the first 3 lines: refrain from unwholesomeness, developing that which is wholesome, acts of wholesomeness, good, kind, generosity, helpfulness, and so forth, purifying your mind. That's the practice, and that's certainly the teaching and the practice of the Buddha. Keeping it simple. Keeping it simple. Because it's so easy religions, traditions, practices can get caught up in complexity. Even certainly Buddhism in general, even Theravada Buddhism, which is more the simple form of Buddhism, can be get caught into complexities. But I find that keeping it as simple and as easy to understand and remember, and then practice is a real blessing. And again, most of the teachings come down to just some simple points, some simple truths, some simple practices. So in those 3 lines, 4th line, this is the Buddha's teachings, is the Eightfold Path. And the Eightfold Path includes the 4 right efforts. It includes the 5 aspects of right speech. It includes the 4 foundations of mindfulness. It includes the 4 levels of deeper meditation. So it sort of extrapolates out, but it just basically comes back to those 3 things. Refrain from unwholesomeness, do only the wholesome, purify mind. That's it. All good. Easy. But it is a practice. It is a process. And as we've been reflecting the last few weeks in terms of motivation, goal for the year, and then we looked into the practice is the process. It's not about the end result. It's the process that's important. Developing qualities, virtues, values as a process, not just the end result, the destination. And then also the preparation. The preparation is important. The more we prepare the mind, then the natural unfolding occurs. Being prepared for awareness and awakening at any time. I'm too busy for awakening. I'm too busy to be enlightened today. I've got a lot of stuff to attend to. But if your mind is calm and aware and alert and present, seeing things as they are, insight and awakening can occur because the preparation is done. So rather than thinking, well, I'm just going to live a life of indulgence, enjoyment, hedonism, and I'll be ready for enlightenment just before I die. Having had a life of lots of sense pleasures, it's probably not going to happen. It's about preparing, being aware, being present, and then the insight and opening and freedom, liberation can happen at any time because the preparation's already been done. There's also no one and none of us really know when that end moment may come. That's the fact, that's the truth. I have a client at the moment, and he's a Sydney-based client and connected with me. He came for some sessions 10 years ago, but just recently connected, dealing with some grief. His sister in England, who works in a hospital as a healthcare professional, and youngish woman, the husband, child had some headaches, didn't feel great, went to the hospital, and died the next morning. So it was a encephalitis in the brain. So that they don't know how she contacted it. So these things can happen. So it's about being aware, being sort of in the present, doing practice, so that we know that we have practiced well, lived well. And then when the end finally comes, it's like, well, okay, well, this is just when it is, how it is. It can be the letting go. So Magha Puja Full moon. Invitation is for you to stay up all night doing meditation on the full moon. If it doesn't rain, you can sit outside. Not here at your place. We might sort of get around to organizing even like a half night sit meditation for half the evening. In Thailand, we did all night meditation every week. So every week you stay up all night doing sitting meditation, walking meditation. Big pot of black coffee comes around about midnight, just to help power on until about 4 in the morning chanting. And then off on arms around, trying not to sort of stumble over, making it through to the meal time. But that's every week. In England, when I was there, I think we used to do just probably maybe just once a month all night, and the others were just till midnight. But even in Sydney, I did do some up till midnight sessions with people on special occasions. The weather needs to be good though, so you can be outside. A bit of walking meditation or find a place to sit. So any questions or thoughts around the idea of the 4 holy days, special days in Buddhism, and Magha Puja, and that Awada Patimokkha? Has anyone been to a Magha Puja occasion in a Buddhist monastery? Puja means devotion or dedication. So it's like an occasion that people come together, not just monastics, but also the lay people as well. They spend all day in the monastery, if they can. And in the evening, receiving some teachings, and also there would be a circumambulation of the main shrine, temple or chapel, so that people would have a pre-made, would be like 1 candle and 3 incense and maybe a flower, light the candle, and sort of then one sort of lines up together and walks around procession in the dark. So it's just the candle sort of slowly, mindfully thinking around 3 times. So it could be around a stupa, Buddhist monument, or around the main sort of meditation hall, or around the temple where the ordinations happen. And first time around, reflecting on the Buddha. Second time, Dharma, the teachings, and then third time, Sangha, particularly enlightened Sangha. And you sort of put your candle and incense down in a big pot. So it sort of smells nice, and there's lots of light, and you go and do some more meditation. Brendan?
Will there be a Dhamma talk?
Yeah, Dharma talks all night. Yeah. So generally the senior monastic, senior monk would give talks, and but sometimes it'd be such that just to sort of stress out the other monks, the senior monk might go, okay, so we're all going to give a talk tonight, but all night. So the senior monk might give a talk for an hour or so, then the next monk, then the next monk, then the next monk. So giving it so everyone else hears it, the other monks, nuns, people that are there, and also the lay people are sitting there. And lay people in Thailand, the Thai people would love it because they'd find it quite humorous, especially because it really challenged one's Thai language as a Westerner to give a talk in Thai. Or sometimes it might have to be translated if you don't know any Thai. But good practice to sit up on the high seat, give a talk. We'll see what you can do this evening. At least get out and see if the moon's apparent. Challenge is that if it's raining, if it's a full moon, okay, rain and cloud, then you can't see the full moon. But I think last night you could see it fairly well, glowing. And also on full moon nights, people don't sleep that well. But people's blood pressure goes up a bit. Those that are a bit sort of uneased can become lunatics. Things get a bit sort of wild. But see if you can see the moon and think about, okay, this is a Magha Puja special occasion. Throughout the world, there'd be Buddhist monks and nuns and lay people spending times in monasteries doing meditation. Feel inspired to do another meditation or do a little meditation before you go to sleep, or don't sleep. Sleep tomorrow. So we might see some of you on this Sunday for the meditation retreat day. Otherwise, next time. So thanks for coming out tonight and see you again later. Good.